Well, not a lot to do in the town of Pisgah. It's 20 minutes to the nearest Walmart, no traffic lights.
Not even a four-way stop. It's a very small town. You have to intentionally be going there to get there. What makes Pisgah special is the people there, for sure. I hear people around here call Auburn a small town, and it makes me giggle. One of the things that I really miss most about home is just the people and the connections I have back at home.
We're a very close-knit community. We all know each other. We pretty much all grew up together. Half of us are kin to each other, some way or the other, but everybody's ours.
Everybody knows everybody, so I mean, you go somewhere, you're gonna know at least a couple people. You never feel alone, really. You just feel all the love.
I sort of relate it to Mayberry. You probably won't find many people graduating Pisgah High School that doesn't say good things about Pisgah. It's just an exceptional community.
Just growing up here, both my parents taught here. My dad was the baseball coach. I feel like I've only been gone for a couple years, and it's been 16 since I've been gone. So just coming back, you still feel a part of just the family.
The best I can say, it's family. When I was a student here, when I taught here, there were people you knew had your back all the time.
We don't have a lot of other things to do besides athletics, and that's why I think a lot of people in the community all support it so well that we're very proud of it, because that's what we have. And we do have movies and stuff, but you have to travel to go there. So weeknights and all that, the happening thing to do is come watch a ball game.
There's not a whole lot to do outside of here. So that's what we did as kids. We would go outside and play, wiffle ball. We'd go outside to shoot basketball.
Kids just love athletics. You come up here in the summer and there's always somebody in the gym, there's always somebody on the fields.
The community it gives them something to rally around and be proud of.
I mean, you'll just walk into a gas station or whatever and somebody you don't even know knows who you are and just congratulating you and asking how the team's doing, and everybody's checking on you all the time.
It just feels different here. It doesn't matter who you are, if you've moved in or if you've been here your whole life, like you're a part of this community and this family. And it's so cool to have people come up to you and pat you on the back and say, hey, rooting for you. And you may not know their name yet. That's what makes this place so special. It's tight-knit, and I say that to the utmost because everybody is on everyone's side, and wins and losses, it doesn't matter, because where we're down, it's not gonna be for long.
I have the best memories from just being a small town and knowing everybody and being able to do what we need to do to win.
The town takes a lot of pride in all parts of athletics, from being a classroom teacher to being a principal, being a coach. I've kind of been able to see all sides of that, and the expectations. This is a town that they want to win.
Pisgah girls, they just expect to win. And that's a mindset that's great that they have. They don't go out and say, I hope we can compete. They go out knowing they can compete. To win the state championship, naturally, we were happy and felt like we had fulfilled our goals. Now, at Pisgah, it's just, you win the state championship. But that was just something new to us. It was something that motivated us to keep playing hard and keep working. And I think it gave these younger girls something to look to as they came up too.
Well, softball was just brand new. It was fresh. So we were just establishing that. Basketball, it was already established, and you won. That was it.
Once they started winning out there, they expected to win everywhere. And I believe they always did expect to win in the gym, but getting one of those blue mounts changes your outlook on what success is. It reached the point where if anything but a blue mount was not acceptable, and that's hard to live to, but that's the standard that they work towards.
One of our sayings is a tradition of excellence. We strive every day. We work so hard in practice. Coach Ellison, Coach Duncan, they push us every day to be our best, and I think they'll continue to do that.
I really applaud the multi-sport athletes even to this day, because that transition, you're getting more physical resilience, you're learning new skills going from one sport to the other, you're keeping yourself in shape and sharp mentally and physically. And so coming from basketball to softball each year, it was 2 days on the field and then you felt like you never left the field because you were already together, you were already put in those moments together on the basketball court, and you got to do it all over again just on the softball field. So it was really cool.
When I first started coaching at Pisgah, Pisgah was known as a basketball school, and it always has been. A lot of rich tradition, and that's what we wanted to build here with softball.
People just count on us so much to win, and we have so much pressure, but we're so good dealing with the pressure. It's just really great to be in a great program that's been going for years.
Day in and day out, we played as tough a schedule as anybody, and I think our schedule throughout the years during the season has prepared us for what's to come at the end, and I think that's been a big part of us being successful.
Whether it's softball, whether it's basketball, you don't go many places from here and wherever without a Pisgah shirt on that people don't realize, oh yeah, for your girls' athletics.
People ask, where are you from? Where'd you graduate? And I'll say Pisgah, and they're like, oh, they're good, and I'm, yeah, we're pretty good, I try to stay humble about it too, but if they start talking to me about it, and I'll say, yeah, I've won 7 state championships, and they're like, what?
Even the schools around us, I think that kind of set the bar. Everybody wants to beat Pisgah. We want to beat Pisgah. And of course that's going to make the others more successful as well, or work harder to do that.
You're expected to win. If you coach here or you play here, you're expected to win in everything you do, especially when it comes to the girls' side.
Well, I started here in 1980. I graduated in 1984, and I played for Butch Cassidy in the 81-82 season.
The girls program from the very beginning has been in really good shape. First of all, I didn't want to coach them. The principal told me we had no choice. And what I found out with the girls, they couldn't dribble, they couldn't shoot, they couldn't do anything like that well. But you tell them something one time, and they'd listen to you, and they would do everything they could to please you. I started to see this is going to be fun to coach this bunch. I coach in the 8th grade, and they're the ones that won the 2 state championships. To see them go from not being able to play to doing everything you asked them to do, at that time you could see improvement daily out of them, and it's just a real satisfying feeling to coach them like that.
Something with all of us, we were all very competitive. It didn't matter what we were doing, so I think that's part of what helped us do so well. With Coach, we busted our rear ends to do whatever he asked us to do. I don't remember any drama, any grumbling, any griping on playing time or worried about who scored the most points or anything like that. No one was selfish, in other words. We just wanted the job to get done. It didn't matter who did it.
Well, he taught us how to work. He taught every one of us how to work. Those seniors were so talented. The work that they did made us very successful. He was just a super leader. There was so much trust in him. Another thing I look back on is our families were so supportive. Although that was 40 years ago, our parents made every effort to be at our games. That's the one thing I think he instilled was a sense of pride in our program and in our community that I think every one of us still carries.
In my 10th grade year, we ended up with I believe a 24-4 maybe record. It come down to the last game on deciding who got to go to state. We were playing Red Bay. Red Bay was always really strong. In fact, I think they had won maybe the couple previous years to that. And on the buzzer, they beat us 72-70. It was tough.
Red Bay was the most well-known team around, and we played them within 2 points. They won the state that year, and I think it changed our goals. We had always set goals, to have a winning season, win the county, that type of thing, but then we realized that we could compete for the state. I think it made a little change in the mindset of most of the players.
Still in high school when the runs start, I was at North Sand Mountain and had watched some of these legends like Robin Gant and Pam Hicks play against our girls at North Sand Mountain. And it was like, that's impressive. In those days, most girls didn't play like they played. So I did get to see them win their 81 state championship.
We had an extremely talented group of seniors, and there were no juniors. And we didn't have enough seniors to scrimmage, so they moved some 10th graders up. So I was lucky enough to be a 10th grader that went along for the ride. And my job at practice was to have enough to scrimmage.
In '81, we had 10 players that could play, and I'd rotate them. In '82, we had about 6 or 7 players that you would say were the best players. And we at one point had won 47 straight games. I could see the pressure building every day on them. We never talked about it. And then we went to Trenton and got beat, which turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to us. We just relaxed and started playing better then. I think that took all the pressure off of us.
But then the next year we only lost 2 players, 1 starter. And so we had a lot of the same players back the next year, so that was a good starting place. When we played our junior year, we ended up finishing 31-0. Even senior year, it was 30-1.
The younger girls that played on the '81 team that started the next year, they had already been through a lot of the pressure. By the time they were seniors, they expected to win. We'd be behind, they'd never show any emotion. They just knew they were going to win at the end. I think it created a resiliency with them that they just going to play hard, and they knew the outcome, what it's going to be.
I don't think we understood at that time that we were about to be a part of something that would be remembered this long.
I don't think we realized exactly what we had done. We do now.
As a freshman, we actually went and played in the state tournament as well too. We lost in the semifinals, but as a senior, I remember the first day of practice in the old gym, we sat down and some of us was even sitting on a basketball, but he pointed up at the banner and he said, that's our goal for the, for the end of this year. So I mean, it was set, you knew it could be done. It had been done before. So yeah, they definitely paved the way of this is what's a possibility if you work for it.
"25 years. I started the '96, '97 group after their coach actually moved into administration. I knew they had a history of success when I got here, but at that time I was thinking, I'm gonna be a football coach, I'm gonna be boys basketball, anything besides a girls coach. I wasn't exactly as chauvinistic towards the girls basketball, I just didn't like the game as it was played. So when I made the shift, it's like, we're gonna play up tempo, we're going to run the floor and press. And they made it fun. And I thought that's pretty hard to do. I thought it'd be too slow and not aggressive, but that group of girls made it fun. And then as the years progressed, it's just like they kept setting the bar a little higher and a little higher. And so now I just take a lot of pride in keeping it on the tracks, keeping it going. I was not ready. I don't know if you're ever ready to be a head coach until you have to go through the fire. That whole stretch of the first 5 years, we saw the highs and the lows both. And in that 1 year, we were as low as we could be at one point. I mean, the first game out, we get beat 25 by Geraldine. And I'm thinking, what have I done? I was a hero on a JV boys coach, and now I'm the GOAT in a bad way. We made one big comeback, I think it was 5, we made a big comeback with in the Thanksgiving tournament, and you could just start to see the confidence start to grow. And I started to learn the game a lot better, learn how to get people a little bit more motivated. From about '97 to 2000, 2001, I had to grow up a lot. Took some humbling at times, but it was well worth it. As a 22-year-old, I had these big visions that, yeah, we'll just go in and we're going to win right away. When we were 1-4, I was starting to question my decisions. But it didn't take long for things to start clicking.
I graduated in 1997, and that was my senior year. I've also did my student teaching here. I taught here. I've been the assistant principal here, and I've been a coach for about 20 years in the middle. So I've been at Pisgah for a very long time. They say you don't know what memories you've made at this point, which is true. You don't know at that time, but the older you get, the more you realize it, and wanting that for everybody. Being able to come back and support somebody like Coach who he believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. You may have a rough night or whatever. So being able to come back and support him was a big deal. Well, our year was, when I was a senior, a roller coaster. We started out really rough. I think we had lost maybe 9 games when we won the state championship. So you don't have to win them all, you gotta win the ones that matter. It's a process. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. So I think our year really said, you don't have to win them all, but work for it. And that's our goal, get there.
We were runner-up in every tournament we played in that year until the region. We were really determined. We just got on a roll. Got to the Final Four with Briarwood Christian, had a really good game. And then in the finals with UMS Wright. So we got our taste of the private schools and we got to the finals. But it's just pretty amazing, the transformation from wondering if we could win to believing we were going to. I said it often, it was the best and worst thing that could have ever happened to me. Winning it on year one, that set the bar up, and we're trying to rebound and create consistency. And it took us a little while, and we lost some huge, important players in that stretch. I think the girls never really believed at that time, 97, that they could win it. We sat down on the floor of the gym and I pointed to those banners, and day one I said, you can have your name up there if you're willing to pay the price. I don't even know if I believed it, but at some point they bought in, the leaders started leading, and all of a sudden we're in the mix. We go from 1-4 to 28-7 as a final, I believe it was.
When we won it, like it was like a celebration like I'd never been a part of. Like we took pictures with everybody that sent us money for the next 2 weeks. I mean, it was the best years of your life, so there's no way I could not come back and be a part of that because I wanted that for everybody.
Didn't know a whole lot about the game. Grew up playing baseball and coached baseball my first year here. First fast pitch game I ever saw was the group, that played in '99 through about 2003. And first time I'd ever seen a windmill pitch was from Holly Curry. Her dad, they called him to the press box and he threw me the mitt and said, here, you need to catch her, you're going to have to catch her. So the first two pitches she threw, I never saw them. Because I didn't even know where the ball was going to be released from. So, that was quite a challenge. Those kids had played their whole life in fast pitch and growing up with it. So when they came, they knew a lot about it. I was young and just learning as I went.
Coach Duncan's first ever fast pitch game he's seen, I was 12 years old playing in the World Series at Pelham. And he came down and watched us play because he had just got the job and they were transitioning from slow pitch to fast pitch. So he knew that that was the group that he was about to come up with. I guess he got a group that we had been together for our whole lives. We'd played fast pitch. I had never played a slow pitch game in my life. My dad had kind of picked all the best ones around and kept us all together over the years and stuff, and that's who we played with.
I learned a lot early. I understood baseball, and the strategy in softball is a little different. The game's a lot faster, and learning just the small things about it. Quentin Curry, he'd coached these girls all the way up through, so he was a big influence to me early in my coaching career, and he was a good friend of mine, and learned a lot from him.
Actually, when the softball first started, my mother was the coach. They did slow pitch at that time because my mother had taught here 25 years. Then when they switched over to fast pitch, it was exciting because some of these girls at that time, hey, I knew when those little girls played rec ball, It was special to see how well they did and when they won the state tournament.
Start a good program off on the right foot. It opened the door as in, hey, this is possible for us to continue this and have a winning tradition.
The kids they came to work every day. Kind of became life. Spent many, many hours. My wife's very understanding, loved being at the softball field, and for years that's about all we ever did. The basketball tradition is kind of what I feel like helped start what we've been able to accomplish here.
The Pisgah Eagles, they're going to bring home another state title in softball.
We had a really tight group. I went to a feeder school in Rosalie, and then we feed straight into Pisgah. So there was 6 of us that came from Rosalie that we won throughout our rec ball career, and that was all we knew. Losing isn't an option. If you lose, which was very rarely, thankfully, that was a very good example to learn from and go back and, hey, how can we fix this to not happen again?
We had won our whole lives. Losing was never an option for us. When we come to the field or come to the gym or whatever, that was never an option. I mean, we had dominated our whole lives. We didn't know any different.
We played a very competitive schedule, and I would say, a year or two into it, things started falling into place and started getting a little better.
You had some really good girls basketball teams around here at that time. Of course, there still are, but softball wasn't so much. We would go to Birmingham and Huntsville. We traveled all over to get good competition and played 5, 6A schools at the time. 7A wasn't a thing. So that's what we had to do to get competitions, and when we got to state tournament time, it was fine. We were good. we had faced the competition.
There was that expectation of, you know, can y'all do it? I mean, there was pressure, but then at the same time, you don't want to be the one to break the sequence. So, 5th in a row softball, we just went out there and did it. There were several of us that played both sports, so just, you know, always being together, and we all knew each other's strengths. Winning those championships in softball made us want to do good in basketball and have that end result of another championship.
Well, we runnered up to Red Bay my freshman year, and then we played Red Bay in the finals my senior year, and it left a bad taste in my mouth because, so my senior year when we played Red Bay, we were up, we were leading, and then they made a run and cut it close, and you know, I physically called timeout myself. Coach Elson's like, I didn't call timeout, but I called timeout and led a timeout, and I was like, they are not doing this to us again. They are not beating us again. Because they embarrassed us my freshman year. I mean, they pretty much ran us off the court.
Growing up with Holly Curry in softball, once she graduated in 2003, you know, the pressure was kind of on of, are you going to be successful this next year without her? Can you win without her? So she was just such an awesome player.
Well, you have players come through like Holly Curry, Chastity Tucker, who was on that team, Amanda Law. There were some really good players that were great softball players. And they brought that same attitude and that same work ethic into the gym. There was lots of times where Holly was the coach on the basketball floor. She would be the point guard, the center. People listened. They'd listen to her. They had really good communication in that era.
Holly Curry, she dominated in basketball, dominated in softball, and then moved on to Auburn, dominated there. And I think that she carried that culture with her.
With the group that we had, we held each other accountable more. I mean, yeah, coach, you had to coach, but we disciplined ourselves and stuff like that because we were able to communicate freely with each other and not have any hurt feelings or anything like that. So I think that was a big part because we had been together for so long.
We got second in 2004. We talk about it still. We played Hatton. They were the better team. Nobody expected us to even make it that far. So gave us a goal. I think we lost by like 20 points. Just experiencing that, you know, that just made us want to work that much harder to come back and get to have that championship feeling, hear that music play, you know, at the end of the game. That's what we wanted. Going through that loss made us work that much harder. So we ended up winning that year in softball and then coming back my senior year and winning both championships in both sports. You know, definitely motivation.
It's never been good enough just to get there. You know, if you're going to get there, you need to win it. That was a big thing with our team. If we're going to get there, it's not just good enough for us to get there. We've got to win it.
As we're going along, we didn't realize how special it was going to be, how beginning this legacy that has now become Pisgah Sports. But once you win it that first time, that's your goal next year. Anything less, we're not going to be happy with. It's just a special time to be a part of that.
Anything less than a state championship or to reach the finals was a failure. I only did not reach the finals one time. And so of course to me, that was a failure season. That was our goal every year, was to reach the finals.
I'm not taking anything away from these girls because I mean, they're incredible, but I think we set the standard and that's just what it is now.
That's the era that may have won these last 4 in a row because they did set the standard. Several of them have 7 state championship rings, and I got girls chasing them right now that some watched them play, some are too young to have remembered it, but when they look up and see their names, look around and see all the trophies that have won by that era, it's like they just don't want to be the one that doesn't win, that doesn't have a successful season. Each builds on the last, and the future will be interesting to see how the young girls now react to the pressure that's going to be on them to keep things going. I feel like they're going to step up to the plate, but you know, proof's in the pudding.
It was kind of cool to see the adversity they had to overcome that year. 06 they lost, 07 they lost. When they finally come back and won it in 08, that was special to them because they had won it so many in a row, 01, 02, 03, and so on, and then they went like in a dead spot. So to win it in 08 was just special because of the off years that they had. So it was just super special to be there and experience that.
In 2007, it was still a very ironic time because they had just come off of those 5 back-to-back years of winning, and so that was just ingrained in every female athlete's mind. And watching these girls playing as a 4th, 5th, 6th grader, playing basketball, playing softball, and wanting so badly to follow in their footsteps, but then also like feeling that pressure and responsibility that, oh gosh, I really am next now. You know, it's my turn to come up.
Head guard, a 5'4" senior, Ella Dennis.
I really just came in open-minded and anticipating just to learn. Ended up playing varsity all 6 years, but having that guidance, we had one senior that year in softball, especially Shayna Brooke, and it was just that leadership in basketball and in softball. The seniors and the upperclassmen, they take it on themselves to really teach the upcoming girls really what Pisgah female sports is all about.
Now they have some space. Moving up, shooting it up, and shooting it good. Another three-pointer. Big shot for Ella Dennis.
There's definitely pressure to get back into the finals. The teams that came through, really the ball started rolling. Like in 08, we came back and we won state. My first time as an 8th grader, that's when you know what the expectations are. That's what you know. You have that feeling and you so badly want everyone else to feel it too.
Seeing the Pisgah Eagles with a 9-0 lead over the Winfield Pirates. And,
oh, they got it. How about that?
But what a great play by the catcher.
That was a great play.
Hope Hauser, as she throws it over to first, seeing an opportunity there to claim a state championship without having to worry about another pitch being thrown.
I don't think you're going to find a successful program in any school that doesn't have a successful coach. And every program here is going to be on the shoulders of a successful coach. I think a lot of the success of our teams here at Pisgah has been because of the amazing coaches that we've had.
Little girls, always, that's who they want to place for, is Coach Ellison, Coach Duncan, you know, growing up. Even just the life lessons now, you know, as an adult, just looking back on things that they taught us, phrases, sayings, experiences. It goes with you through life.
You just don't hear of many coaches on any level who just stay. And to have all that collective experience and to just completely coach that into all of their players day in and day out. I think it works because they understand each other and they understood that some girls maybe preferred basketball over softball or preferred softball over basketball, but they needed us to be there for both. We may have our small disagreements and our laps in seasons and whatnot, but it doesn't matter because these girls are prepared enough, they're athletic enough, they're committed enough that when I bring them from me to you, they're going to be ready for you.
We've coached together for 24 years. I've helped him with basketball some, and he's helped me with softball some. But the biggest thing is, you know, we share athletes. I understand what it takes for him to be successful, and he understands what it takes for us to be successful, you know, and just working together and for both programs to benefit, I think it takes us being a team.
We've had to come to that realization that we're sharing, and we've never really had any issues over it. We're going to do our best to work together and make sure we don't schedule on top of each other and cause disruptions, but sacrifice is necessary. And it's necessary for the players and it's necessary for Coach Duncan and I. We've had to sacrifice some of our wants for the other at some time. I mean, they don't get to start softball when everybody else does here lately. And it's a good thing that we both want success for the other. I think their consistency is amazing, but it comes from work. It's impressive that kids will be playing basketball on Friday, and by Tuesday they're already playing a softball game and winning. It can't help but be anything but impressive. I know there's lots of great softball programs, and we were ahead of the curve. High school lasts just a little while. I think they should all play as much as they can play, as many sports as they can handle. Enjoy their days in high school because real life happens, so why not enjoy all you can now? I think both of us see it that way and really try to push our kids to be as active as they can.
We always laugh and kid and tell them they've gotten soft. They work really good together. They want every kid to work to their potential. I've learned a lot from having a job and being disciplined and pushing yourself. And that plays a huge role in not just sports, but in your life process as well, to be able to have people to care and to push you to do your best, to be your best in life.
They taught me how to work. They taught me how to not be afraid of work. There was a lot of times, many times that I was on the court and I would be so tired and so winded and so just ready to like, sit down, please give me a break. And then Whitney would look at me right in the face and say, you don't get to quit until the clock hits 0. And I would say, yes, ma'am. And I would just keep going. So really being pushed that hard made me realize like, hey, it's not about how in shape you are. It's not about how athletic you are or how tired you are. It's truly a matter of your mindset. Like, do you want to do it or not? They instilled that in me. I think that it could be just credited to the coaches that stayed and that poured into us and the community for supporting us.
The life lessons that we learned from Coach Cassidy that year and the work ethic that he taught us. But now he was a player's coach. We played basketball, but we played for him. That's been 40 years ago, and all of us are in our 50s. But if he walked in this gym right now and said, get on the line, I would get on the line. He made so many positive deposits into us emotionally that he could chew every one of us out. And at the end of the day, we loved him. We still love him. And when we see him, it's just like it was yesterday. But he taught us more than X's and O's on a basketball court. It was fantastic to have the opportunity to play for him. I was a support player, and that's kind of followed me through my life. I've been a support player for a lot of things, and I learned that through basketball.
We had so much respect for him, and he was, you know, all that we had to look to as a leader. He wanted us to be the best we could be, and we definitely wanted to be the best that we could be.
We had a lot of talent, but I don't think we would have ever done it without him. And I don't think there would be banners on the wall without him.
It's a good feeling to know that they learned something from me that they could use in later life. And that's what athletics is all about. They were an exceptional group. I feel honored to be a part of them. I feel like what we did laid the groundwork for what they're doing now. Now what they're doing now is better than what we did.
It has been a great year. Obviously did not end like all of us planned. We're disappointed but proud.
The runners-up, the Pisgah Eagles.
I've played with the group of girls that I play with now since before kindergarten. We've played all the sports always, all together.
We were tough, and we just loved to play with each other. Really just the team chemistry that I think just put us over the edge.
I love the group of girls I play with. We're just so laid back, but when it's game time, it's game time.
Celebrating every member of this Eagle family. Molly Hurd, you were big time today. Congratulations.
We have a good time, and we're goofy, and we're laughing all the time, but when it's time, we're ready to play. And when it's time to get focused, you get focused, and it's just kind of that mindset that's never had to been said.
Anna Duncan checks in for Pisgah.
There is an unspoken ritual. It is this is just what we do.
We were most definitely held to a higher standard, but we were never asked to do anything that we weren't capable of.
Well, the biggest thing is just they want to be a part of tradition. You know, they look at the scoreboard every day when they step out on the field and they see those state championship years, and they want to be a part of that. First day they get out here, we don't talk about winning Jackson County titles or winning area titles. We talk about winning state championships. And are we going to win state championships every year? No, but our expectations are there. And I think those expectations come from the tradition that all these girls have built over the years, in the last 22 years. Those expectations were built prior to them getting here.
To have all the attention in that moment is very nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I can take a deep breath and know, okay, Pisgah has been here before. I'm in the jersey now, but it's been passed down to me and I'll pass it down. This has happened before and we're all gonna be okay.
And now Pisgah with a chance to take the lead, 2-10 in the fourth. To the foul line.
Watching people before you play, them winning it and then getting so excited, and then you get on the floor and the lights are shining down on you, and then you start playing and you have all the nerves, but once you start playing it just goes away and you just play the game of basketball. It's great.
Molly Hurd, an 8th grader.
Coach will come in, he'll give us a pregame talk, and he always said, this has stuck with me for all of my years and it'll probably stay with me for the rest of my life. He always said, play hard, play smart, play fast, play together. And that's something I feel like we as a team always strive to do.
no good. Rebound, and Pisgah's going to win this thing. Their bench erupts. It's Pisgah pulling off the victory, their first title since 2005, as the Eagles take down the Tigers.
Came up short last year. You take it home this year. What does it mean to you and your team?
Well, it's hard to can't even put it into words. These girls worked really hard and went through a lot of doubt. They just overcame everything. It's super exciting, especially for these girls that earned it.
When we got back for the 2018, I was starting to wonder if we was ever going to finish another one. We'd gotten to the finals, but then we won that. And it's like, girls in 2019, we've never won back-to-back. We've had all these opportunities, never been able to do it. When we got back-to-back, why not 3? Before you know it, all of a sudden there's 4 in a row. It's mind-blowing to me.
Gets off the runner, no good. And that will be the final, 46-41. Pisgah wins their back-to-back state championships, the 3rd straight year. They're in the finals, 2 for 3 now.
I think it's safe to say, if you live in Pisgah, you got yourself a dynasty. Ellison again.
The three-peat is complete. Pisgah, your 2020 3A Girls State Champions.
It's going to be a happy evening in Pisgah, Northeast Alabama, for that man.
There's Carrie Ellison, his 4th straight state championship. It's conferences.
Fitting.
Pisgah, your 2021 2A Girls State Champions.
This run it's incredible. It's incredible for the girls. I never really envisioned it at any point because girls basketball in the state of Alabama is pretty tough. Dropping the classification, I thought this is going to be great until it came out. And there's Spring Garden sitting there, and Coach Austin is a legend. And now we've got to try to beat them just to get to Birmingham, just to get to the Final Four. And this year the challenges were immense, but it was also makes it really rewarding to know that they just kept fighting through sicknesses. We didn't have any COVID issues except for quarantines, but we had some sickness and some injuries, and making that 4 in a row, I would have not believed it was possible 10 years ago.
And this team in red, Coach Carrie Ellison, what an outstanding program he's built. Look at that 4.
We overcome quarantine, and we overcome star players being sick and out for a few games, and we had people step up. Anything from people giving each other water or just a pat on the back. We were all there for each other, and it was just special for it to come out and finish in the end.
Just very happy. Starting to run out of adjectives for this team and for this situation.
We want to play for each other. I shot a lot, obviously, and I missed a lot, and it was just knowing that they would come in, pick up rebounds, get putbacks. It was just seeing how hard they work. It just made everybody want to fight for everybody involved.
Here's the spin move again.
Spin back to the middle. Second time she's done that in the game. This time with about a 12-footer, though, instead of about the 3-footer she had the last time.
How much we loved each other and how much community there was just within the teams. I think that was just the thing that really set us apart.
Dribble the ball, you're going to play at Auburn. You can dribble, go. And just whenever I'm flustered or whatever, he just constantly is there to remind me that I can do it and that I'm good.
It's raised the bar and lifted the pressure level. We go out of our way not to talk about next year or last year. We try to stay in the moment. We're not going to talk about trying to win a 5th in a row. We're going to try to talk about winning this game. Really try to focus, it sounds cliche, but on the here and now, and not look too far ahead and not let the past dictate anything.
We don't really talk about a 4-peat or a 5-peat. We try to stay away from that and not get our heads too big, but yeah, we always want to make the girls below us feel like they have something to go towards.
Never be satisfied. We're one game at a time, but always looking to be better.
With Pisgah at the plate, leading off for the Eagles is number 20, Hannah Duncan. The catcher just had a nice play
I tell kids all the time, we won in 2019, hey, let's enjoy this today because we're going to work tomorrow. Over all the years, you can't just sit back and, think about the past. You got to start looking forward and, hey, what have we got to do to be able to do the same thing? And it's part of the expectations. It's not the pressure that you feel from the community or anything else. It's kind of the pressure you put on yourself because I want to be better than last year's team. In order for us to keep winning, teams are getting better everywhere. We've got to continue to get better. 2011, we hit 71 home runs as a team, set a national record that year. I had a catcher that hit 35, set a single season record that was broke a few years ago. But you just have to kind of figure out what works for your team, and we just have to take those strengths and try to coach towards the strengths.
These girls are very deserving. They've battled day in and day out, getting a late start with basketball, having such a great year, and for 6 of these kids to win a state basketball title, state softball title, they've seen this year's has been great for our school and our community.
It's definitely made it to where anything besides the state tournament is going to be a disappointment for the kids. I hope if we ever get in that direction, I can let them see that you're still the Lady Eagle and you've still had a great year and great success. You can't quantify it all by whether you win a blue trophy or not. Did you become a better person? Did you have great experiences? Did you make lifelong friends? Did you do all the little things?
It's a target every year. It's sad to say that if you're not playing in the last game and you don't win the last game of the season, that there's a failure in amongst your season. That's really hard to deal with sometimes, and I hate that for them. But you play to get better and have fun. There's more goals in life than that, but that's the main goal every year.
They seem to take everything in stride. The pressure for me was huge. Probably a lot of it put on myself, but when people start talking so early about the possibilities, really fighting the complacency and fighting that, we had to get there. We couldn't take it easy and show up and play against Spring Garden and expect to have a chance. But with the girls' side, they're pretty laid back all the time. They have an expectation of themselves and some accountability that a lot of kids don't have. They're disappointed in themselves when we don't win by enough, or if it's an ugly half or things like that. I'm not sure they really feel the pressure as much as the coaches and the adults do. I think they just play ball.
The 2A state champions, led by head coach Carrie Ellison, the Pisgah Eagles. Congratulations to the 2A state champions.
The 4th straight year for Carrie Ellison and the Pisgah Eagles.
Junior year was very nerve-wracking, and then we won, and it was like we were the big underdog playing against Lauderdale. It was like, oh my gosh, we won, But then senior year, it was just not as fun as being the underdog. It was so stressful, and I remember being even more sick. I don't know if it was because it was like a senior year, like this is the legacy you leave or whatever, like this is your last game. I don't know if that's what did it, but I think it was a combination of that, and yeah, you're expected to win. So you better do it, and you better do well, or else. I do think that there was a lot more pressure after winning. So I can only imagine what the girls now feel. I can imagine that there's the whole like, when is the streak gonna get broken? And that probably puts a world of pressure on them. So I think it's incredible, what they've done the past 2 years with me not being there.
The most valuable player from Pisgah High School, Annie Hughes.
It's definitely a challenge, and it's difficult going in knowing that it's going to be hard and there is a standard, there's pressure to perform well. But I think pressure is a privilege. You get to be out on the floor when everything's loud and it's big. You get to be out there and compete for a state title.
And from Pisgah, Kennedy Barron.
It only gets harder every time you win it because you get that big old target on your back, and it just gets harder each year.
From Pisgah, Molly Hurd.
Teaching kids to win is hard. Winning a state title is a very big deal. As an athlete, I would have given anything to play in a state finals game. My daughter, take her for example, she's a senior this year that plays both basketball and softball. She's played in 7 state finals because we were runner-up one year. So, just to have the opportunity to do that, as a coach, I'm very blessed to be where I'm at and be in the position I've been in for the last 24 years.
Situation coming up now, Hannah Duncan will steal third, then the next batter will deliver a sack bunt, and that brings home Duncan for the Eagles. They're now leading.
We want each other to win. We're not selfish, and we want each other to excel. And I think that's the biggest part of the winning culture at Pisgah. We're a team. We want to win.
Stealing. That'll get her. And Duncan will cut her down at second for the second out.
Just being around the atmosphere and being in the dugout and the older kids, them being a role model to me and stuff like that. So to finally get to put that jersey on, it's just such a big deal because it's all I've ever known. Like, I've been here my whole life. It's always I'm the last one to leave. I got to drag the field, got to make sure all the trash is picked up. It's that kind of stuff that I'm used to. Ella Dennis, she was telling me stories a minute ago about how she remembers when I was tiny and just bringing her the bat and bringing her glove when it was after she had just got a home run or something. And so she was like, it's special to get to see you live out your dream after you watched me live out mine. So it's just special to finally get to put on this jersey.
It's a clean bunt. And that throw's going to get away when the first baseman, Duncan, comes around to score. Wheeler goes to third. And Hurd will get to second.
They've walked so we could run. Watching them win it and just being like, I want to win it one day, and then finally doing that so many times, it's just a great feeling.
Oh, those girls were my idols. They were so mature and they were great leaders. They exemplified so many great traits, and I really looked up to them and I thought, man, I want to be like them one day. I was lucky, I grew up kind of around Annie Hughes, great basketball player, great softball player. My pitching instructor, Holly Curry, she played both and she averaged like a double-double her senior year. She was great at both. And so just like growing up in the community around them and seeing their success made me think, wow, I want to be part of that one day.
Kennedy Barron at the plate for Pisgah.
Looking around, we were like, all right, well, the years passed, they did it, and Billy Duncan was their coach too, so I mean, I guess we, what's changed, right? So it was like, we don't want to be left out, we don't want to be like not remembered, so it was like, might as well just go and do it, right?
Pisgah powered through that heat, winning 4-1 over Vicksburg. They're state champions for the 10th time in fast pitch softball. Literally, that's unheard of. Auburn basketball signing Annie Hughes showing us she can do it all. Check out this catch. She calls off the outfielders, goes all the way back there to get the fly ball. Auburn's getting quite the athlete. If you remember, Pisgah won the girls' basketball championship too. 6 players played for both teams. Head coach Billy Duncan says his softball title is the sweetest.
Looking up to those banners when I was in school before we won, I know how important that was to me, how special it was to me to look up and see like Whitney Smith, assistant coach, to see her name on a banner and be like, oh my gosh, you're like still here and you're pouring into me. Like, I thought it was so cool. I just hope that, maybe that I can impact someone the way that she's had an impact on me, that I can be motivation for someone like that. So seeing all those banners, I hope it's not very intimidating, and I hope that, people keep continuing to rise to the challenge.
Into short, Hughes fires across. Nice play by the shortstop there. That was a tough play for Hughes, but she made it look pretty easy.
To see that and to know that you're a part of this small history in this small town of Pisgah, Alabama, it means a lot. The girls that have come through this program, from the earliest of state championships till the girls playing now, like we're still a family. We communicate with each other. We could be 5, 10, 15 years apart in age, but we have that in common. Even if we never played together, we look up on that scoreboard and we all have that in common. And the losses too, the years in between, those matter too. It's just a little bit sweeter when you get to read it up on the scoreboard. I'm really, really proud to be a part of it because it feels like, in a way, we shared the successes and failures still. You may not know those girls personally, but those girls are a part of something that too. You get that on the inside. You get that in your heart. And with Molly, I wish her the best of luck. I hope she breaks it and then keeps going. And it's funny because they were watching us when I was in high school, this current group. And I was watching Megan and Paige and Holly. And I was taught by Miss Rhonda and Miss Robin, and just to have that whole full circle moment with these ladies, there's nothing like it. It's just so special.
I remember just as a little girl watching Whitney and the rest of that team. That's who you wanted to be, and that's what you want to do. Just gave you a goal to to work for, and hopefully that you would have that special moment and experience.
I'm not one that likes to talk about my successes in the past. I've never been like that, but it's nice to be able to walk in and see your name on stuff and say, hey, I was a part of that. I was a big part of that.
Seeing the younger ones, it's almost like some of the kids of the ones that we had before. It's like another generation is coming around, which is a good thing. Like my daughter was a state championship, my niece was a state championship winner too. So being able to see people, even at this level, get it is great.
Now I think if you come to Pisgah, you come expecting greatness. And you come knowing that it has to be worked for. Looking back again over the years, most of the girls who come through our program, although they may have been like me, I was just a support player. I was just a support player. I know the talent on our team was the seniors. But to be a part of that and to be allowed to be a part of that is a life-changing thing. It makes you understand that if you go out and put the work in, you can be good.
And just the closeness and the friendships that we formed and the bond that we formed is just special.
It means a great deal to me to see an empowering culture, empowering young women. A lot of people say, you know, you can do anything you set your mind to, but I feel like here at Pisgah, with everything we have around us, our community, our teachers, our friends, our peers at class, they really uplift us and they help us achieve things that wouldn't be possible otherwise.
Should do it, and Barron holds on to it. And the Pisgah Eagles have won the 2019 AHSAA Class 3A Softball Championship. A 4-1 score over Wicksburg.
It's become more and more competitive. You know, I tell kids all the time, if you're willing to come in, year out, and put in the work, you're going to have an opportunity to play at the next level. If you want to play at the next level, you've got to play. You know, you got to play in the summers, you got to play in the fall. And most of the kids that want to play at the next level, you know, they're willing to do that. We have kids that are playing travel basketball, travel softball, and kind of doing it all, and just juggling, you know, both sports because they want to be successful in both.
To be a lower class, I think especially, that's something that I'm proud of, because you could be a very successful 6A, 7A school, and that's almost something you expect. But to be as strong as this program is, and with the basketball team at 3A, like I'd put them against any team in the state, hands down.
I think seeing it as children growing up, being able to see the success in both sports, it was like, wow, I really can do both. You know, the sky is really the limit here. If you want to do it, you can find a way and you can do it here.
A lot of people around this area, if your kid's good and you want them to play, if you want them to go to the next level, where do you go to play? Well, you go to Pisgah. I think that's just one of those that speak for itself in the dynasty.
As Pisgah breaks the tie and takes the lead.
20 years, that seems so long ago. I don't feel that old, but I just hope people remember all of us and the legacy that we hopefully started and the tradition and everything.
I look back and I'm proud of what we did, and everybody I think just wanted to be a part of it. I know the first time we went to Birmingham to play in the state championship, I think we carried 6 bus loads from Pisgah. Somebody made a comment they had to take up sidewalks in Pisgah because there's nobody there anymore. They were all in Birmingham. I was talking to Coach Ellison a little bit ago, and he was talking about our half-court trap. He was 7th grader, and he remembers seeing that, you know. It just feels good to be a part of something like that. And all the girls and myself and all the other coaches, we put in a lot of time and a lot of sweat to get things going. Of course, when people honor you like that, you feel grateful.
I've had about 115 daughters, I feel like. 115 players have graduated. I've got about 15 teachers, about that many nurses, 2 medical doctors, a couple in the military, and a bunch of good mamas. You know, look at my girls, that's what makes me the proudest, is almost all excel. And I feel kind of indebted to my girls. They keep going as long as I can. You know, I like to just stay here with my girls and my grandkids. That's the kind of way I look at these that's coming through now. It's daughters of my daughters, and it's just a great place to be. When I'm through coaching here, I'm through.
Just taking a lot of pride in the community and wanting to give back some. And we've got a lot of players that have been that way, that put forth a lot of time and effort, you know, to be a Pisgah Eagle, and they'll always be Pisgah Eagles.
Getting to put this jersey on, like it makes me emotional, but like getting to put this jersey on, it means so much because I worked my whole life to get to this point, and to get to put this jersey on, it's so special.
This team has been incredible to me. I wouldn't trade them for the world. They are the best teammates anyone could ever ask for.
All I can say is it feels special. It does. There's some kind of feeling here, this community, this chemistry here that you don't really feel just anywhere.
I feel like Pisgah is a very good example of a community that uplifts its young girls and shows them like, hey, you can be great. It takes hard work, it takes a lot of sacrifice, but you can be great.
It didn't take long for Pisgah to become home and for these kids to be mine.
I still take pride in where I graduated from. I take pride in being a part of this. And I want to see them successful because this is home to me.
This town is an incredibly special place. I can't put it into words how much this community has uplifted me and helped me. My teachers, my parents, my family, my administrators. It's been an incredible ride, and I couldn't be more thankful to everyone that's helped me along the way.
It was probably the honor of a lifetime. I'm still proud to be from Pisgah.